Jacob, you want to introduce us to the folks sitting right behind you? Because I love it when parents show up.
Oh, well, these are my parents.
We were blessed to have Jacob come with us. She's going to pull the screen over, I hope. We were blessed to have Jacob be part of the team of 19 that went to work in the inner city of Chicago last year during our spring break mission trip. This is one of my daughter's favorite photos of Clarissa can get. It's Jacob on one side, my 14-year-old daughter, who almost got a soccer goal tonight, by the way, and an African-American kid we met at the Jesus People community known as Stuart. I love you. Michael and others who've met Stuart, been to Jesus People Church up in Chicago, Illinois with me before, can tell you some stories. What I want to tell you a story about is, though, Jacob, when I saw him on this trip, I think it kind of redeemed the hardship that Jacob and I had between each other the first time I met him. Because the first time Jacob ever came to the MSC, when I really got to know him, we were looking at the story of Jacob in the Old Testament. And if you know the story of Jacob in the Old Testament, Jacob was a swindler, Jacob was a cheat, Jacob was a guy who ripped off his older brother, Jacob was a guy who lied to his father about it. And my lesson for that night at our Thursday Bible study was Jacob is the person that God and Jesus are all for, which is the cheats and the rip-offs. Jesus even loves those folk. So I'm seeing this guy just make some faces at me from over this side of the room. And I go up and I say, "Hi, I'm Drew, I'm the pastor." He goes, "Hi, my name is Jacob." And that's how this guy, who spent a week with me in the inner city, and I redeemed that whole faux pas. Will you give it up for your brother in the faith?
Forgot to introduce my sister. She's going to get mad at me if I don't introduce her. So that's my sister, Nikki Murphy. Tonight, I just wanted to talk about something that I've experienced and most of you experienced already, and what some of you are experiencing. It's how to be a Christian in college. But first, I'm going to start with me. My name's Jacob Murphy. I'm from Menifee County, Kentucky. I came to college in 2007, and I moved around. Finally found my home here. I liked it here better. But they're all good. In high school, I wasn't the Christian that I should have been. Like, I was a Christian, but I had a lot of lost friends, and I never said anything about God to them. I mean, they knew I went to church. They'd always try to get me to go do stuff with them, go drink, go party. And I was like, "No, guys," and they'd always try to break me, but, I had nothing to say back to them. So, I wish I could go back and what I know now and go back then and talk to my friends. It's important to stay close to God in college, because without Him, I wouldn't have made it. I would have been, there's no telling what I've been doing right now. So, it's really important to stay in church, stay with some friends, and stay real close to people that are close to God. First, I need to talk about what my sermon's called. I'm a pretty cheesy guy, if you know me. So my sermon is called the ABCs of being a Christian in college. So, first, A stands for abandon self and trust Christ with your life. And accept Christ if you haven't, first of all. If you haven't accepted Christ, you need to do that. You need to give your life over to Him. First verse I'm going to look at in the Bible is Matthew 10:37 through 39. Anyone who loves his father or mother more than me is not worthy of me. Anyone who loves his son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me. And anyone who does not take his cross and follow me is not worthy of me. Whoever finds his life will lose it, and whoever loses his life for my sake. So this is just talking about how if you give your life to Christ, you're never going to be alone. You need to give your life to Christ, and don't worry about anything else, because He's all you need. And I have a couple verses for each one. So, second verse I will be going to is John 10:7 through 10. Therefore Jesus said again, I tell you the truth, I am the gate for the sheep. All whoever came before me were thieves and robbers, but the sheep did not listen to them. I am the gate. Whoever enters through me will be safe. People come in and go out and find a pasture. The thief comes only to steal and kill and to destroy. I have come that they may have life and have it to the fullest. It just talks about how we all need to come to God, because if you don't, then the thief will come in, and that's the devil, and he's all constantly going to be trying to persuade you to just go away from God. Like I was in high school. I was a Christian, but I was too scared to do anything about it. I was just stayed silent. I wasn't telling anybody. I was kind of at a stalemate, Christian stalemate, is what I would call it. I could have done better, but I didn't. And now I've got a lot of friends that are lost. I don't know if I'll ever see them again. So. B, beware of temptation and people who want you to fail. All right.
Preach it.
In college, there's so many things that you don't have in high school. This is kind of talking to the freshman here, or anybody. But in high school, there wasn't that many. I came from a really small county, and yeah, they go out and party every once in a while. You hear about a party, and a lot of drugs. There's a lot of drugs in Eastern Kentucky, and that was one big thing too. But here, when I got here, it was just crazy. I mean, the first night I was here, there was people drinking just all around me, coming and asking me if I wanted to go with them, and I was like, I don't even know who you are. And that was my first night. Kelly knows about that. He was with me, and it was trying to get me to join fraternities. And their catch line was to say, "Well, we have some crazy parties, man." And I was like, "Well, man, I don't really party." He goes, "Well, we go to a Reds game sometime." No, I'm not a big baseball fan. It's all bad. But like, there's everything in college. Sin after sin. There's drunkenness, sex, homosexuality, cheating on tests. That was a big one for me, because when I'd be taking this really hard college test, I just want to look over here, because I had no idea what was going on in my classes my freshman year. Skipping class. Our youth leader always talks about a story that he skipped class one day. His roommate was in a wheelchair, and he said he woke up one morning, he looked out into his rain, and he was like, "I'm not going to class." He's like, "It's just nasty outside." But he looked out, and he saw his roommate across the road in his wheelchair in the rain, just going to class. And he said after that, he never skipped again. He's like, if he can do it, I can do it. So stay away from, you need to stay away from that stuff, and you stay away from people that does that stuff. It's good to be friends, you can be friends with them, there's no problem with that. But you need to have close Christian friends. You've got to have guys or girls that will just keep you on track throughout college.
Amen.
And I got a couple verses for this. 1 John 2:15 through 17. That's what I'm going to do. Do not love the world or anything in the world. If anyone loves the world, the love of the Father is not in him. For everything in the world, the craving of sinful man, the lust of his eyes, and the boasting of what he has and does, comes not from the Father, but from the world. The world and its desires pass away, but the man who does the will of God lives forever. So this just says, I mean, if you do the will of the Father, you're going to live forever. I mean, in eternity, you're set. I mean, it's going to be hard down here for a while, but when it's over, you've got to look heaven to look forward to. So, second verse I got to go with that is 1 Corinthians 10:31. So whether you eat or drink, or whatever you do it all for the glory of God. Do not cause anyone to stumble, whether Jews, Greeks, or the church of God. Even as I try to please everyone in every way, for I am not seeking my own good, but the good of many, so that they may be saved. Follow my example, as I follow the example of Christ. We don't need to cause anyone to stumble. This is something I kind of struggled with, not big time, but when I got to college, I was thinking about, people would ask me to go to the party, and I'm like, well, you don't have to drink. You can go. And I was like, well, okay. I was thinking about it, but then I realized, what if, someone that I was trying to witness to drove by or just walked by and they saw me with all these guys drinking, partying, and I was like, well, there's no way in the world they're going to know that I'm not doing that. So I was afraid that it was going to hurt my witness, but on the other hand, I think it's good that you do talk to those people. I don't think you should hang out with people like that all the time, but you really need to witness to these people.
Mm-hmm.
So do not just don't just shun them and say, no, I don't want to talk to them. But you need to witness to them, but you need to do it in an appropriate manner. I don't know how to word that. But just watch out, because Satan will try to get you and tempt you with anything. He knows your weaknesses. So. C, communicate with God about every aspect of your life. And this is the last one, but it's the most important. So, I did a lot of praying about where I should go to church when I get to college. I started out at Chi Alpha over here, and I prayed about it, and I realized, maybe I should just try somewhere else. And then I went to several other ones, and I kept praying about it. And finally I came here, and I started going here, and I realized I felt like this is the place I need to be. The place that's going to keep me strong and keep me accountable through college. Another big thing was friends in college. It's really important to have really good friends, really good Christian friends. Because Jesus had his disciples, and that's who he hung out with all the time. I mean, he did go out and talk to the sinners and talk to other people, but the 12 apostles, that was his backbone. That was where he stayed. I've kind of got my apostles, and I've got Kelly and Hardy, and I've had other ones over the years that they've graduated. Chris Gorsuch back there. They kind of keep me in check on stuff I do. I trust those guys, and if I'm doing something wrong, they're going to say, listen, you need to do this. You don't need to do that. That's probably the most important thing that I've done is pray to God to send me good friends in college. And that's what he did. So, first, I got one verse, Philippians 4, 6 through 10. Do not be anxious about anything, but in everything, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God, and the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Jesus Christ. There's nothing too stupid to pray about to God. I mean, if you're struggling with it, pray about it, and he'll listen to you, and he'll answer every time, one way or the other. Just seek guidance in him, and he will lead you on the straight path. 1 John 5, 14 through 15. This is the confidence we have in approaching God, that if we ask anything according to his will, he hears us. And if we know that he hears us, whatever we ask, we know that we have what we ask of him. So that just kind of goes to say that whatever you ask of God, he's going to provide. Pray about who you should date, or if you should date. It says in the Bible that it's better to something, or who was it that said that?
Paul.
Paul said that he shouldn't date. I mean, it's better not to date, but if you must date, you must marry. He talked about marriage. I don't know how much dating there was today, but he must marry to do it. But that's one thing I had to pray about if I should date. And I mean, I'm dating Diane now, but if it's going to cause you to stumble, you probably shouldn't do it. You should really pray about that. And I've got one last little thing. Kelly told me I shouldn't do it, and I'm going to do it anyway. It's cheesy, because I'm a cheesy guy. It's a story about a guy that couldn't find his way through life. He was looking for a purpose. And kind of like what you're doing in college. If you're confused, if you're a Christian or if you're not a Christian, you're looking for something to hold you straight or to just help you along college. Well, this man, he's a rich man. He had a lot of money, trying to find happiness, trying to find belonging. So he decided that he would buy him a sailboat. So he bought him a sailboat. He sailed around the world. He saw all these different things, and he still wasn't happy after that. Still didn't know where he belonged, and had no idea. So he decided to use some of that money he's got. He bought him a house. So he bought him this big mansion. And he was, he lived in it for a while. He was lonely. There was no one around. He has a dog, but that's all he had. So he still wasn't happy. He still didn't know where he belonged. So he decided he could just go big. Go big or go home. And he bought him an airplane. So he bought him an airplane, and he flew around the world. He'd already seen it on his boat, but he saw it again. He flew around, still couldn't find happiness. So he kind of was about to give up. Well, there's one last thing I should buy. So he took some of his money, took about the rest of his money, but pretty expensive. He bought a rocket ship. He flew to other planets. Now, I don't know if NASA knew about this, but how he got there. But he flew to the moon. Still did not know where he belonged. Did not know where happiness was. So he got to thinking about it, and he finally came around and realized that happiness was right under his nose all the whole time.
Wow.
That's kind of all I had for you guys. I'm sorry, I was short. I'm not really a big public speaker. I did what God wanted me to do. So I encourage you to make good friends, pray about it, find you a church on campus or off campus. Just make sure you go. And learn God's Word, hang out with friends. If you don't have friends that are good Christians, there's lots of good Christians here and the other campuses.